Today on Let's Fish TV, I have a very special show for you. Carl Butagen and I are going to be around the Port Charlotte area in Florida targeting snook and redfish in the middle of summer. This is notoriously one of the tougher times of the year to come down here, but we're going to show you exactly how to do it and how to catch these fish. Let's Fish TV is on the air right now. Oh my gosh. Check that out.
It's time for the only program that brings you real-time fishing reports from the Southwest region every week.
Cobia! Big one. And a monster! Look at that!
That's a Tawakoni giant.
This is Let's Fish.
Welcome to Let's Fish TV. I'm your host, Andrew Upshaw, and today I have a very special episode for you. Today we're going to be in the Port Charlotte area on the western side of Florida, and we're going to be targeting snook and redfish in the middle of summer. You know, this is one of the toughest times of year to target them, but I have a good feeling today. I've got my good buddy Carl Butagen of KB Backcountry Guide Service, and I'm telling you guys, we're going to go out there and smash on them. We'll also have this week's fishing report from your local region from our insider reporters. In the meantime, we're going to get this boat set up, get all our stuff ready to go, and toss it back to the studio for your weekend planner.
Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of Let's Fish. The Salooner tables are predicting fair game fish activity throughout both days this weekend. Peak game fish activity begins around 3:53 Saturday and 4:30 Sunday afternoon. Nighttime action will begin around 3:28 on Saturday and 4:05 early Sunday morning. Depending on your area, you can expect the sun to rise around 6:45 and set around 8:24. Evenings will feature a 81% visible moon. Make sure to stay right here to check out all of the current fishing reports from throughout the area, and I'll be back with MLF angler Andy Morgan on this week's Ask the Pro feature.
Today on Let's Fish TV, I'm out here with my buddy Carl, and we're headed out in Port Charlotte area, and we're going after snook and redfish. You know, we're in the middle of summer, it's super hot. You know, we're expecting water temperatures to reach 93 to 96 degrees today. It's gonna be really hot, but I have a feeling we're gonna catch a lot of fish. The last time I went fishing with him, we caught a lot of really nice snook, some redfish, some trout, caught a little bit of everything. And I expect today to be no different. But let's get out there, let's see what we can do. I have a feeling we're gonna catch them today. What do you think?
I think so.
All right, let's do it. Nice little snook. Not bad. There we go. There we go. Not a bad little one. It just falls out, doesn't it? All right, guys. Today we're with Carl Butagen. He's down here at around the Port Charlotte area, and I did a show with Carl. I guess how long ago was it?
A couple years ago.
A couple years ago, and we did it for Strike King's Pro Team Journal Snook show. And I always said if I ever got a TV show, I was gonna have to come down and fish with Carl doing some snook. Now, granted, that's a small snook, and we're gonna catch bigger snook today. But the fact is we're here in Florida. We're gonna be targeting these really, really pretty fish. I like to call them a baby tarpon. They still jump like a tarpon. They get all out in the water, and they knock the fire out of a swim bait. Last time I was here, I caught them on swim bait, and this time is no different. But we're gonna talk to you all about how the snook bite, what you need to catch them on, and what Carl's best times of year to come catch these monstrous fish. Now, like I said, this is not a big one, but you will see a big one today. I can promise you that. So let's
try to eat him.
Oh, we got one did try to eat him. Well, let's get this fish back, and we'll see y'all here in just a second.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by the Psionics Nightwave. Full color, true night vision capability that'll detect a man-sized object as far as 170 meters, helping to make you safer at night. Now this week we're gonna start on Lake Fork, and yes, we're going bass fishing, but we're gonna do it at night. We're gonna fish around main lake points in the mouths of the creeks. We're gonna start with a buzzbait up shallow in black blue. Then we transition, spinner baits, also black blue, half-ounce bait, Colorado blade, throw that in the 3 to 6 to 7 foot range and plumb those shallower waters for those active bass. And then finally, a Texas rigged 10-inch power worm in either blue fleck or red shad. Use this triple combo to go out and catch those Lake Fork bass at night. Now over at Bridgeport, sand bass are schooling very early in the morning, and then they transition out to the deeper structure, the humps, the ridges, the pond dams and such. You do have to know, however, Bridgeport is about 9 feet low. Hazards that were just under the surface are now exposed. Hazards that were well covered by the water are now just under the surface. So please be really careful. Throw those top waters, throw those jig heads with a plastic body, or your inline spinners for those sandies at Bridgeport. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes. Check us out on Facebook, Lone Star Lakes.
There you go, Carl. That's what I'm talking about. Dang, you picked up my rod and caught one? What the heck? There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Good job, man. Not a bad little fish.
I dropped it on the bottom.
Did you really?
I was bouncing
So
off
you
the
were
bottom.
bouncing off the bottom.
Yep.
So we've got a little bit of moving water right now. The fish are kind of lethargic. The middle of summer, fishing is a little tough. We've had quite a few bites today, and we've seen an absolute ton of snook. And I'm up here throwing a swim bait. I have a bunch waking on me, and I had a couple bites, and Carl picked up my rod and started throwing the little minnow around, the little brand new Strike King minnow. It's a little saltwater bait, 3.5 inches long, and it's a great snook bait. It's very durable, just shag color. But let's get this fish back real quick, and we'll talk a little bit about it. You know, Carl actually just caught that nice snook on the new Strike King flood minnow. It's a really small little swim bait and a squadron head, just an 1/8 ounce jig head. Just a great way if you want to just go fishing anywhere. I don't care, from Florida to Texas and everywhere else in between along the bay. You can catch redfish, trout, snook. You can catch literally anything on these little swim baits, but you got to have a swim bait that A, has a good color to it, one that's going to match the hatch, B, it's going to be durable so you can catch multiple fish on it, and C, probably in my opinion one of the most important aspects, especially in the middle of summer, is downsizing that bait. It's 3.5 inches long, whereas, I mean, if you look in the water right here, we've got a ton of fry around, and that's really important to find a bait that's going to match that hatch. I mean, these fish have a lot of pressures, a lot of heat. I mean, as soon as we got in the water today, the water was already 89 degrees, and I mean, it's so hot right now. So anytime you get in the summer, downsize that bait a little bit. We're still throwing big line. You know, that's 20-pound braid, 98.5?
95.5.
95.5 on the Lowrance right now. So I mean, it's super hot water. So fish are kind of lethargic. So what he did is he actually threw it out there, let it go to the bottom, and just kind of wormed it around and caught that nice snook. So we're gonna keep working at it. We're gonna try to catch a couple big ones today. Y'all stay tuned, and we'll see what we can do here in just a minute.
Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there. Visit Mississippi. Wanderers welcome. Powerful. Total boat control. Balls Out. Made in the USA. Heavy duty mounts for your fish finders. Rely on. Challenge your limits.
He went for Big Mama, and he caught her too. I mean, that's a big red. That's what I'm talking about. Dang, you changed up, man. What the heck?
The redfish.
Oh, redfish. There we go. That's a good redfish there too. Heck yeah. Nice red. You went up to the Rage Swimmer.
The big one.
The big one too. Like that's like the 4.75. He went for Big Mama and he caught her too. I mean, that's a big red.
Yeah.
There you go. God, what a big red that is.
He crushed it too.
Did he?
Yeah.
Jeez. Now, what is y'all's length limit on redfish?
18 to 27 inches.
So 18 to 27. So that would be considered probably a bull red there then.
Yeah, he's over.
He's a little over. Dang, what a good one, man. That's awesome. So you went to the big rage swimmer. Yeah, that's a 4.75. Let's look at this thing. She's still fired up, isn't she?
The male, you can hear it drumming.
Oh man, what an awesome fish. Good job, man. That is a really good fish. Let's get this fish back and then we're gonna talk a little bit about it. Now, Carl, that was a really good fish. Today we've been targeting snook here out of Port Charlotte. And Carl's been, how long have you been guiding here?
17 years.
17 years, wow. Yeah. So I'm gonna get a lot of questions on here. People are gonna wanna know because there hasn't been a Let's Fish TV show in Florida as long as I can remember. So there's gonna be a lot of people that really wanna have some information here. So when is the best time, let's just say for snook, when is the best time to come out here for snook?
I mean, we got a couple times a year, you know, like early May, our snook move to the beaches, so they're breeding. So that's where the majority of our big snook are, is on the beaches, and it's easier to target those big ones. But after that, you know, around September, our snook start coming back in, and they start moving back into our estuaries. And it's a lot easier to target, you know, multiple fish that way.
Okay, so that's a snook, but one of your biggest parts of your guide service or your charter business is tarpon fishing.
Yes.
So when is the best time to come tarpon fishing?
There's a couple different ways we do it. Like if you want to do the Boca Grande, tarpon capital of the world, the Boca Grande Pass, that's more like late April, early May, you know, all the way up to June. And then like my favorite time is August and September because they push up in the harbor and we actually throw a lot of artificial for the tarpon that time of year. And we throw big live ladyfish. That's
awesome. So what is your biggest tarpon that you've landed? I know you hook a bunch and the land ratio is kind of down.
Probably about 230,
That's
225,
awesome.
230 pounds.
Wow. Well, guys, if you want more information on KB Backcountry Guide Service, go check out Carl Butagen. You can go check him out on Facebook. There's a lot of information there. He posts almost every single day that he's on the water and always has a lot of really cool fish pictures and a lot of great information on this particular area. And I want to go catch one more. I'm kind of jealous because you caught the big red fish.
You want one of those?
I wanted to catch.
You want one of these?
Oh man, I think I'm going to stick with what I'm.
Hey friends, Captain Kevin Broussard here with this week's Let's Fish Louisiana Outdoor Report, coming to you from Cage in Paradise. Tell you what, this week Dad and I had a little time, came out on the water. Going to talk to you about saltwater fishing basically across the whole state of Louisiana right now, but specifically here on Calcasieu. Got a lot of birds working. And what we have is ladyfish or skipjack that we call them. They're targeting your shrimp, and that's what's coming to the top and busting. But we're catching a lot of trout, throwing 1/8 and 1/4 ounce jig heads, letting it fall beneath those skipjacks and ladyfish. Tell you what, lots of good trout are under there. Every now and then you will find just a school of trout, but I tell you what, there is some good fish under there. Snapper fishing's great. I tell you what, over there in Breton Sound, I've seen a lot of my buddies down there doing really good. Seems to be live shrimp, live croakers, the best thing on trout over there. On the freshwater side of things, I tell you what, all your major lakes right now, a lot of people have switched to the nighttime fishing to beat the heat, or early morning, late in the evening. The biggest thing is fish slow. I like to fish deeper on the points. Throw a big 10 or 12-inch worm. Seems to be the key there at night. I tell you what, on them big bright moonlights, I can throw a buzz bait or a spinner bait up real shallow. For Old Cajun Phil, I'm Captain Kevin Broussard saying, let's fish. We're gonna see you next week.
That's a good one. There we go. There we go. Finally a good one. There. He smoked that flood minnow. Oh my gosh. There he goes. Quick catch and release right there.
Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Lose, Feel the Difference, Mamba Boats, Ride with Pride, Strike King, Taiwan On, Fishing Specialties, makers of the premier mount assembly for live sonar.
Actually, I've been confused a few different times looking at him today. There you go. Another redfish.
No, Snook.
Oh, is that Snook? So what are we doing here? We're at low tide. We're throwing into a bowl here, correct? Or a hole?
Yeah, there's little scattered holes through the whole thing here. I mean, this area is called Catfish Creek. It's usually really good for snook, but
Had a few redfish bites though.
yeah, redfish seem to be a little bit better in here today than the snook. A lot of mullet working up out there.
And you said the redfish actually run with the mullet.
Sometimes they'll run with them, or a lot of times they'll be right behind them because they're stirring everything off the bottom.
So,
like
but
crab,
like you said earlier, they're not eating the mullet though.
No, the mullet are way too big for them redfish to eat.
So they just kind of follow them around and eat whatever they stir up, because those mullet are always just kind of going and doing everything.
Milling around.
Yeah, milling around, going crazy. That's interesting though, because I mean, as a novice saltwater fisherman, you know, I always just assumed that the redfish ate the mullet. You know, I mean, I'd get in an area where there was mullet, I'd find redfish and trout.
Yep.
And I was just under the impression that's what they ate. So a lot of times my offerings would be something similar to what I would see a mullet.
A little mud minnow, or
yeah.
So like this is probably mimicking, you know, like a small little finger mullet.
Okay. Well, that's really interesting. That's good information for the viewer at home to understand what they're actually looking at, what they're trying to do.
Those big mullet, they can't eat them.
Oh yeah, and actually I've been confused a few different times looking at them today. There you go, another redfish.
No, snook.
Oh, is that Snook?
Yeah, he
Oh, it
hit
is a
right
snook.
at the boat.
That's awesome. There you go. Oh, the hook just fell out. Let's show the viewer at home. I want them to see. Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a crappie's mouth. If you can see that here, can I grab it real quick? Maybe it won't flop out of my hand. As you can tell, I mean, it is paper thin mouth, just like a crappie. But golly, guys, these are some beautiful, beautiful fish. I mean, such a cool catch.
Matt Pangrac here with the Bass Talk Live podcast, and this is your Oklahoma fishing report for the week. Folks, it is hot in Oklahoma. Record temperatures, 100-degree days in Oklahoma. So that means you have to take advantage of the early bite and the late bite. Broken bow, Eufaula, and 10 killer, a good topwater bite on main lake points, 6 to 10 foot of water, walking baits and pop bars. When that sun gets up, a 10-inch worm in the brush has been producing. Don't be afraid to take advantage of those white bass too. Eufaula and broken bow, the white bass have also been schooling on main lake and open water. A small rooster tail and a small popper cast on spinning rod can produce some great action when that largemouth and smallmouth bite dies off with the warm temperatures. Hey, if you're interested in more bass fishing news from across the nation, tune in to the Bass Talk Live podcast every Monday through Thursday at 8:30 a.m. on the Bass Talk Live YouTube channel.
This is just a weighted hook with a screw lock that I put on this flood minnow, and I'm fishing it the exact same way, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to fish it. So you make your cast out here just like this, and all you're doing is you're hopping it. You're basically just giving a little bit of break so the bait can glide down. And Carl actually showed me this. Oh, I just broke one off. He literally just broke it off. But that's exactly how you fish it. It got wrapped up in his gill. As soon as I set the hook, I felt him turn on it, and he broke me. And I want you to see this. This is 25-pound test, guys. And I can promise you it's super, oh yeah, it's insanely frayed right there at the end. But that's how you fish it. Pop, pop, let it sink. Pop, pop, let it sink. And the fish will eat it. We've got a nice little school of snook right here. The reason Carl's even in the water is he actually saw a redfish tailing through the shallow grass and was like, hey, I'll just push you up there. What he's saying is the blades hitting the grass is actually gonna spook the fish. So therefore we're getting more bites by him pushing us around. We don't have a push pole today, but yeah, this is working. You know, I'm getting to fish while he's pushing, so it all works out pretty well.
Watch our latest episode or catch up on past episodes on our website at letsfishtv.com. Be sure to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter for new fishing videos every day. And download the free Waypoint TV app to get all the latest episodes every week on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Mercury, Go Boldly, Lowrance, the ultimate fishing system, Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, Alabama. Plan or book your fishing charter at orangebeach.com. Motor Guides Tour Pro with GPS anchor, powered by Passion. Glacier outdoors since 1982.
So glad to have you back with us. It is time now for the Ask the Pro question. This week, it's Zane who would like to know, how long have you been fishing and who first taught you how? For an answer, we asked MLF angler Andy Morgan.
I was taught by my dad. We fish local tournaments right there at home, Tuesdays, Mondays, Wednesday afternoons. I started in the backyard. I can remember catching my first bass. It was on a hair jig and a spring lizard when I was 5 years old. After that, we rolled all into the tournaments. I got the fever for that. And me and Dad fished for many, many years, all the way up till I started traveling just solely for a living as a professional in 2003. So definitely my dad.
Thanks so much, Andy. If you have a question for one of the pros as well, just visit our website, click on the Ask the Pro link, and send it on in.
Here's today's Right Stuff, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Today at Port Charlotte, we used a couple different baits to catch our fish. You know, for me, the way I was catching them was using the new Strike King Flood Minnow. It's a little small swim bait. I was using it in two different rigs. I was using a weighted hook version with a 25-pound Strike King tour grade fluorocarbon leader, 30-pound tour grade braid, and a custom inshore 7.5-to-1 gear ratio reel with a 7-foot medium heavy rod. On the flip side, where I caught most of my fish this morning, was using the exact same swim bait, but using it on an 1/8-ounce squadron head spinning rod, 7.5 footer, just to get a little bit more distance on my cast. And man, honestly, I'm gonna say the best bait of the day was the 4.75-inch Rage Swimmer that Carl rigged up. He put it on a Rockport Rattler head and was just fishing it in and around. You know, Carl actually made a key adjustment late in the day, and I think that was the main reason we caught our fish, is you actually changed the retrieve in which we were fishing.
Went deeper, yeah.
Yeah, so the fish were setting up a little bit deeper, and the reason is because it is so hot. 95-degree water temperature today, just scalding hot. These fish don't want to come up and feed for the most part, and we're catching them in about, what, 2 foot of water at most?
Knee-deep water.
Yeah, knee-deep water. So Carl already got in the water today. I think we're gonna head back to the ramp. Guys, I hope you learned a little bit about the Port Charlotte area here in Florida, and maybe you can come give Carl a little bit of business and let him show you just how good this area is. And until next time, I'll see you on the water.